Hi.
Hey, everybody.
That was quick, man.
Do it fast, man. It's like a
Yeah, three,
band-aid.
two, one,
Rip it
go.
up.
Hi.
Yes.
Like a,
Welcome.
is it better when you rip off a band-aid fast? Is that how it
Yes.
goes? Oh,
Always.
okay.
Always better that way. Welcome, everyone, to Don't Worry Wednesday. It's a show where it's about you guys. We handle your
Where we
topics.
handle you guys.
Yeah, something like that. Oh, man,
Um,
you just saw me moving stuff all over in front of my screen there. Look at that.
what?
You didn't see
Oh,
it.
yeah, it's on their end.
Yeah. Yep. So, anyway, welcome. This is the show where we handle any issues, topics, challenges you guys might be having. Feel free to post them in the chat there. You can feel free to send us an email, dww@bss.studio. You can find us on Discord. Princess has our names and numbers there for you. Yes, Vanna V, you are becoming a regular. Welcome back. And welcome to all of you guys.
Oh, hey, Arya.
It's great to see you. We are not professional therapists or counselors or anything like that, but we just want to do what we can to be your friend and help out in any way we can. We know that most of the time you're smart enough to figure a lot of this stuff out on your own. However, sometimes it just helps to have a friend, and sometimes it helps to just have a little bit of perspective, because we don't always, when we're in the middle of something, we don't always see the whole thing, and an outside perspective can really be helpful. Yeah. So anyway, hey, Jono, welcome. Oh, you love no, huh?
Oh, but
Cool.
no. Yeah, that was a good one.
No, thank you. That's yeah, great to hear your feedback. So yes. Anyway, so those of you who don't know, we released an album, a single dual. Released an album on December 31st. It's there on our YouTube channel and also on Spotify and everything. So that was pretty cool. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Ryan.
No, we're not. We're here to talk about these guys.
Ryan,
The
how are you?
oh, I'm doing awesome. Thank you for
See,
asking. I'm
I
so
told you we were
happy.
here to talk about you.
Yeah. See, as soon as you turned it over to me, I realized that you were right all along. I am
Mhm.
the center of the world and all
You
that.
are.
So of course, it's my obligation to feel happy when you direct the center. No, okay. Anyways, I am not the center of the world. Everyone in the chat is the center of the world, and that's what we're here to talk about. How are you guys doing? How you doing, Joe?
You guys. What?
How are you doing, Joe?
Oh, I'm great. I'm here with you, man. How could I be
Yeah, I know.
anything less than great, man?
Well, the only reason I'm great is because I'm with you. So it's like one of those things. It's like a circle. Sure.
Circle meets a square.
Is what? And what happens? Is
I
this a
think that's a
joke?
song. I think that's a song by I forget who.
It sounds like one of those lines of like, the plumber walked into a bar and then you say something after it, something witty, and you're just
Or
like the circle meets the square.
a skeleton walks into a bar, orders a beer and a mop. One of those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
uh. Okay, that was
Skeleton walks
terrible.
into a bar. It goes as he falls to the ground.
Yes. Two guys walk
Splatters.
into a bar. You think one of them would have seen it?
Yeah. Nope. All right.
Anyway, all right. Well, so let's see. We got some topics here. We got some people and some topics. I don't even have the sheet up yet. Oh my gosh, I'm
Oh,
so
really?
far behind. I'm still
Oh my
looking at
gosh.
David Bowie on my man, and you're
You're
getting
what,
phone
looking at
calls.
David Bowie? Is that what you said? David Bowie?
I was still looking at our meeting notes, and we had we had a picture of David Bowie on there. I think Jeff put it up there. That was pretty
David
funny.
Bowie's awesome.
Yes, that is for true. Um. Oh, we're supposed to ask Kendra if your post was a topic.
Yeah, yeah. Last time you had made a post. Yeah, please if we can. Cool.
Was it from last
Awesome.
time?
Awesome. Awesome.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, sweet. So
Let's get the party started.
yeah, let's get this party started. We got a handful of folks. We got a bunch of topics that we haven't done yet. And if you guys are here, we'd like to put you at the front of the line. So if you hear your name, then let us know and we'll do your topic. So we have Sevlev, SK, Awkward, Pika, Jesse, Khan Vulcan, Sparrow, Amira, Random, Man Left Behind, or Marhandi, and Baka. And if any of you are here, let us know. We'd be happy to do your topic. We also have one. Sounds like we have one from Kendra from was it from last week?
Yeah, I remember Kendra writing some stuff last week, and I wasn't sure if it was a topic or not. So,
Okay.
Princess just
Wait, last
clarified.
week?
Wasn't it last week, or was it this week?
Was it? I don't even
Oh,
know.
did she have one this week?
Okay.
Okay, I saw her putting stuff down last week. Did she put stuff down just this week? Just now?
We got one from 1 hour ago.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
why I'm
okay,
wondering if
okay.
I missed something.
No, never mind. Never mind. I remember writing in the chat last week, so.
Okay.
But I think what she was writing had to do with the topic that we were talking about, and she was talking about it, so I'm relating to it, if I remember correctly. So
yes, it's called
that's why I was
Quarantined
confused.
and stuff, I think.
My bad.
Yeah, don't be bad.
Yeah. Jeez, what's wrong with me? Wow.
Man, oh man.
Why did I choose that?
I don't know.
Why did I choose to make that accident happen? That's so dumb.
Well, we will start with that one then. So while we get it all kind of put in place here, I have a link. And this is the only time I ever get to Princess still beat that. Man, I was gonna do it too, but nope.
It's funny because you said I have a link and I could see the smirk start to come across your face, and I was like, "He's gonna lose. He's gonna lose again."
Yep. I always lose. Princess is too fast. She's too fast at posting the links there. That's pretty awesome. Oh, by the way, those of you guys who don't know, we have a sale going on in our store right now for like plushies like this. We've got the Criminal Idol flash drives. We've got Ryan's got a copy of the book right there. The flagship book of amazingness. We've also got the CD, the Criminal Idol CD. All that stuff is on sale. Right now we've got a coupon for January of 2021, 21% off. We were like, hey, you know what? 20% off just isn't enough.
That's right. And for 2021, we wanted to make it 1 times better. Wait.
Well, if you times it by 1, it's still 20.
My math is impeccable.
I guess.
At least I realized it immediately as I said it.
Yep. So, and Princess has the link to the store there. So, yep, just the coupon code is the number 21. Just put that in there, and then that'll be 21% off your whole purchase. Free shipping in the United States, $10 shipping anywhere else in the world. And we're getting better at shipping stuff. I know this because I'm in charge of the shipping department. So it's getting better. Yeah. So anyway, if there's anything you guys want, go get it now because it's 21% off. So
that's right.
But let's do that topic. Princess has posted the link for us in the chat. It's called Quarantined and Stuff from Kendra. And yeah, Princess, you want to read it for us?
Of course.
All right.
Hey folks, hope you all did well. I've been quarantined with my family since last week because 2 of my siblings tested positive for COVID. Today we got a call, and me and another one of my siblings have tested positive. So we will be in quarantine for another 10 days. They didn't have the test results for my dad, my mom, or my youngest brother, Skylar, but my mom has been showing symptoms for a while now, and we're thinking the reason my dad's back is acting up worse than normal is because he has it as well. So we're just assuming at this point that everyone in our family has it, which is fine for me because I don't really like to leave the house that often, but at the same time, I'm not used to my siblings being home all the time, especially my brother Camden, who likes to just leave the house and go and see his friends. But he can't do that now, so he's normally in his room. I'm actually getting a little stir crazy, but I will just go outside to feed the cats to get rid of that feeling. Especially right now, since it's getting really windy outside and really cold. I have been sewing, painting, drawing, watching YouTube and Netflix, making videos, and making resin art. I haven't been able to really fall asleep, even with taking melatonin, because my nose likes to get plugged up when I sit up, but when I lay down, it runs, and I end up sleeping in a weird position. Anyways, besides that, I'm doing okay, although I'm really wishing right now that I lived a little bit bigger of a city that has more food options. I'm really craving for something other than pasta, chili, eggs, pizza, hash browns, and soup. I really want a nice hamburger with some fries and a pop.
Nice.
But I really want some chocolate, and recently my brother came into my room and asked if I had left a glass of milk in the food pantry. I was confused because I hadn't had milk all day and mostly spent the day in my room. So apparently our family has a mystery on our hands to find who left the milk glass in the food pantry. Don't worry, the milk wasn't warm. It was still fairly cold, so it hadn't been there that long. Anyways, I hope you're all staying healthy and safe. Lots of love and care to you all. God bless, Kendra.
Wow. So you got a whole household of positive testings there. Man, oh man. But it sounds like, it sounds from your post that at least everybody's still doing okay, even though they've tested positive. So that sounds like it's good. It's just everybody, you got to be quarantined and, make sure that, you don't spread it. But if everybody's still feeling okay and stuff, that's awesome. And I hope that stays the same way, that nobody gets really sick from it. So, yeah. But anyway, you're in our thoughts and prayers. You can rely on that, and yeah. So, but I definitely understand the little bit of frustration that might occur from being quarantined. It always stinks to not be able to do the things you want to do. And maybe not, you can't see the people you want to see, you can't go where you want to go. It can be pretty frustrating. And it's kind of become a little bit of a way of life for a lot of us right now. But yeah, I'm definitely glad to hear that you're not, sick in the hospital from it. So that's awesome. But anyway, I think I'll turn it over to Ryan and see what he has to say about all this.
All right. Thanks for posting this, Kendra. I love hearing about your day. It's kind of funny. The milk in the glass conundrum, or the glass of milk in the pantry. That's pretty funny. It happens to any of us, like literally, I've put stuff in the refrigerator that doesn't belong in the refrigerator, and then I'm like, wait a minute, did I just put that in the refrigerator? Am I that stupid? And I go to the refrigerator, and there it is. One time we had somebody in our family who had missing keys, and they couldn't find their keys to their car. Looked around all over the place, could not find it. Like 2 hours later, they found it. It was in the refrigerator. Keys were in the refrigerator.
Of course it was.
Yeah.
Because that's where they belong.
That's where they belong. Anyways. So anyhow, yeah, COVID, I mean, it's a hard time right now for everybody. And whether you're infected with it or not, it's impacting everybody in some way, form or another. So it stinks to hear that you and your family tested positive for it. Hopefully it doesn't turn into anything. One of the things is that apparently for as many people that actually get it, not that many people get sick from it. It's like 10 to 20% or something like that. 10 to 20% of the people that actually contract COVID get sick from it. Other than that, it's just kind of wandering in your body, not doing anything, and then it's waiting to pass itself on to the next person that it can actually affect. Mm-hmm. And so hopefully none of you get any terrible symptoms. If you do, that's unfortunate, and I'm sorry to hear that, but hopefully it just passes over you. Because just because you have tested positive doesn't mean that you'll get affected. So keep that in your mind so that, But of course, be careful. Um, yeah, right now you feel like you have a cold. Okay, that's not too bad. Hopefully that passes. But yeah, we'll keep you in our prayers. So, one of the things here you talked about, I can totally relate to. That is kind of being stuck up in a house with a bunch of people, and not being able to get away. There's a certain sense of freedom when you are by yourself in a home, right? Like if you have the home all to yourself, you have this freedom to wander, to sing, to make loud noises, and you're not going to bug anybody. You can stay up as long as you want. You're not going to bug up anybody. Um, you know, and I can totally relate to that. That's kind of how I feel a lot of times. Just when I have that chance to be home entirely alone, um, I'm, you know, I'm worry free. I'm carefree because I have no one that I have to feel like I'm. I can get annoying to, I suppose. But also, for me, I record vocals and stuff like that, and so there's a lot of stuff that I want to do in the silence, and so a lot of times I want it to be quiet, and I don't want anybody to be around. So I can relate a lot to that. So how do you deal with that? you know, One of the things is like a lot of that's in my mind, right? A lot of that's in our mind. Like a lot of people don't really care if we make some noises, right? And we kind of just have to get over ourselves a little bit. We have to be comfortable with perhaps looking silly or being annoying to others around us, and allow it to wash over. Because I mean, when you're all crammed up in a tight space in one house, there's not much you can do. It's just how it is. And so you learn to be tolerant of others, and hope that others can be tolerant of you. Um, and that's really the best you can do, you know? So try not to, um, try not to worry too much about yourself, and uh, try to do your best at being tolerant. Really, that's all it comes down to. Um, but yeah, that's kind of all I got to start with. Joe, do you have anything you want to say?
Well, I know I definitely know the feeling of wanting wanting a burger, some fries, and a pop. That's
Yeah,
one of my favorite foods, like honestly. And
if
usually,
it's a really good burger, yeah.
yeah, like usually not a fast food burger. Burger King burgers aren't too bad. I really have grown to not like McDonald's burgers. Um,
I don't care for them.
but a really good hamburger from somewhere, like a lot of times it seems like you go to some tavern or something, they seem to have the best burgers.
Mm-hmm.
I used to work at a place that it was basically a bar and grill. I was a cook there, and man, they had such great burgers. And it wasn't just because I cooked them. It's like, in fact, I was not the best cook there by far. I was like the novice. Everybody else was way better than me, and I learned from them. But it was just fantastic, when you have a nice big half-pound burger patty, and you get the fixings on there, the lettuce, the tomato, the mayo, the bacon, all that stuff. It's good. But Wendy's slaps. Yes. Although Culver's is pretty good, and so is Steak and Shake. See, we're gonna just make Kendra. I hope this isn't making you feel bad because we're not talking about burgers.
Yeah.
Yes, Marshmallow, you are right. Bar and grills use real meat, get meat from the butcher, and cooks are really good often. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
very true. Um, yep, they did good. Um, for the longest time, I've eaten basically chicken, rice, salad, and Dorito chips, and that's pretty much it.
One of these things doesn't seem to belong in this category of
everything's
food.
so healthy except for the Dorito chips.
Yeah. What on earth? Yeah. Okay.
Man, you'd hit your goals so much faster if you would take out the Dorito chips. I know. Um, but anyway, so I'm like I said before, I'm really glad you guys. I'm really glad you guys aren't feeling sick. But I also understand the stir craziness. Man, being cooped up, we were there. I actually got to be tested for COVID this past week. My test came back negative, but I had a private lesson at martial arts, and the next day we got an email that one of the instructors there tested positive. So, and they haven't had full classes in the studio for a long, long, long time, but they were able to start doing one-on-one private lessons where they then sanitize everything, and everybody's wearing masks and stuff. So, but it's basically just you and the instructor that are in there at any given point in time, and not the instructor I had my lesson with, but the other instructor that works there tested positive. So I waited a few days because I know there's like an incubation period or whatever. So I waited like 5 days, and then I went and got tested. That was the craziest test, where they stick that thing in your nose and they swirl it around up against your brain. It feels like, because it's like way up there, and it just, and I'm like, whoa, whoa, oh my gosh. And then they took it out. Do you need a Kleenex? I'm like, yes, please. like, like
Everything inside is falling out now.
it's all gonna come out all over the place.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it is uncomfortable for sure. You laughed when you got tested. I just kind of closed my eyes, and I was like trying to control the gag, because like when you get something put that far back, it's like I just wanted to gag. But one of the things that has always helped, especially with like cold and flu viruses and stuff like that, I've learned that Zicam, or some kind of a zinc remedy, helps, and also vitamins, especially vitamin C. Those kinds of things help your body fight the way it's supposed to. Then the rest of it's just controlling symptoms, really, and helping you sleep, I think. But yeah, vitamin C tablets a lot. Yep, that's gonna help your immune system take care of things the way it's supposed to, the way we're designed to, really. So yeah, you're doing the right stuff. But I'm impressed. You're making art. You're making resin art now, huh?
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd
I'd like
love
to
to
see
see
that.
some of it. Absolutely. And so at least you're keeping yourself busy doing stuff. Some people, if when they're faced with this kind of thing, they just get really depressed. And that's a totally natural response. I know my father-in-law, he's had some issues for a while. And that's one of the things that he struggled with for a while, was depression, because he was just, part of it was they weren't figuring out what it was. He didn't have COVID, but he spent a bunch of time in the hospital and seeing the doctors, and they just could not pinpoint what his issue was. And then some doctors were saying he wasn't sick at all, there was no problem, but he's like, well, why am I feeling this way? This is not right. Something's wrong. And so he went through all kinds of different specialists and stuff like that. And it was really, really frustrating for a while. But he's getting better now, so that's good. And I'm sure you guys will be just fine. It sounds like your family's doing well. It's just the issue of going crazy with everybody being together and stuff. So, but anyway. Yeah, hopefully you can find some fun in it. And it sounds to me like you're doing so. You're making some candle holders, coasters, you're keeping yourself busy creatively. Those things can all be very therapeutic when you're in a situation like that. So I'm really proud of you, Kendra. I think that's awesome. So anyway, Ryan, did you have anything else?
Oh yeah, just a little bit. I think that, if you want to get over any sickness, there's a couple of things that can really good for you. One, attitude. Keep a good attitude. Keep up your hopes. That sort of thing. I mean, it's proven. Records have proven that if you have loved ones, right, and you guys talk and stuff like that, you end up getting better faster, and recovery goes better, right? So stay close to your family. Obviously, you have to stay close, but I mean, stay close on a mental level. Don't try to avoid the fights, right? Just and enjoy each other's company the best that you can. And then, also your attitude. If you have a good attitude, it helps your body keep keep fighting better. But also, as Joe was saying, zinc. If you're taking zinc or vitamin C tablets, fantastic. But I would also, like Joe said, get zinc in you, and the reason is because zinc is a metal. It breaks down in your body, and it's really good at at basically by its nature helping to take care of um, both bacteria and fungus. It's really good at that. So the now this is a virus, right? Viruses aren't a bacteria or a fungus, but by the nature of it, it helps your immune system to fight off anything that could help aid the bacteria, or sorry, the virus from replicating and things like that. So yeah, Joe's recommendation for zinc is really, really good one. But again, I'm not a doctor, so you can confront your doctor and all of these things.
Confront your doctor for sure.
Yeah, confront them. Yeah, in a violent manner. No. But yeah, I think is the best thing you can do at this point in time is just keeping a good attitude, do what you can to help fight it off, and help your family do the same. And yeah, so Princess might have something she wants to say.
Yeah, I just saw that.
So Princess, if you wanna share, like, go for it.
Well, I definitely can relate to the food thing. Part of that is I'm a person with a food allergy, so I have celiac disease. I can't have wheat.
Mm-hmm.
So going to a restaurant is like having a list of no's with a few little yeses here and there that you'd be like, ooh, I can have that. So, being in quarantine, if I want to order out, I have pizza, 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 baby wings, maybe something else if I can get creative. So.
Well, but then the pizza though that has wheat in it, right? Unless they have gluten-free
There's
option.
gluten-free crust that exists.
Okay.
If I go to a place like Culver's, I can get a gluten-free bun.
Okay.
But the best thing that I've found for when I get bored of a food is trying to find something new. I don't know exactly what you have in your house, but maybe you have any sauces that are laying around or such, and try adding those to some foods. Just experiment. Or if there's a restaurant and you haven't tried something, try something new on the list, something you don't normally have. Or if you're homemaking meals, see if you can look up a recipe. I don't figure you have much in the house because you can't.
Sorry.
Yeah, try pineapples on pizza.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good one.
Man, one of my favorite pizzas is a barbecued chicken pizza.
Yeah, that's good.
Because I'm not a big fan of...
Peanut butter is great and chili if you have peanut butter.
What, really?
Yeah, my dad won third place in a contest with it.
Peanut butter?
Peanut butter.
Yeah, my mom makes a soup that's a sweet potato soup, and it has peanut butter in it as well.
Are you serious? Man, you guys are like blowing my mind with the chili thing, because I can remember the first time I ever heard of and experienced sour cream in chili.
Oh yeah,
which is fantastic. I had never heard of that before until I was probably 30 years old. And then it was and then I tried it and I was like, that is so great. But now I'm hearing about peanut butter and chili.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa. Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. I'm going to have to try it.
There might be small things. You could even look up some recipes on things that you're having and trying to see what weird things people have tried out there and give it a go. If it tastes bad, well, just put a little bit in it.
Now, Kendra, you might have the problem of well, I'm not the cook in the family. I mean, my mom cooks, or my dad cooks, or my brother cooks, or whatever, right? If I have to cook something, I have to cook for the whole family. I'm not really a good cook, or I'm not used to cooking, or I'm not given that opportunity or position, right? Here's what you can do. In my life, that's kind of how I lived, but I was always free to make new drinks. And so I'd always experiment with creating new drinks. Now, they don't have to be cocktails mixed with alcohol and things like that. I'm just talking about making drinks. What I would love to do is make a banana milk, and I would put chocolate in it. I'd have a chocolate banana milk, and it's fantastic. Put a little bit of vanilla in it, put a little bit of sugar, some chocolate, some bananas, mush them up real nice, and then pour the milk in. It's amazing. All right. Or you can try to make your own teas up, right? You can add all sorts of different spices into a pot of water, and then heat them up, and then pour that over your tea. That's how you get chai tea. It's fantastic. You can cook the milk with it and stuff like that. You can look online for how you make chai teas and or whatever you want, but try different things. Try different things out. I experimented with putting all sorts of different kind of flavors in my coffee, and that was great. So. One that I would recommend if you haven't tried it is putting what's the nut extract that you can get? Almond extract. Yeah, put almond extract in your coffee. It tastes like a nutty cookie kind of flavor. It's good. It's good. I haven't gotten the chocolate chip flavor yet, but that's like a kind of like a nut cookie, nutty cookie flavor coffee. Yeah.
You can also try pureeing any foods that are kind of soups and just see.
Oh, there you go. But she was sick of soup. But you could.
She said she doesn't like chili with the beans in it. So if she just purees the beans, I'm curious if it's the flavor or not. Or,
I see. It could be a texture thing. Could be a flavor thing.
I find cooking is limited by what you have around you and the amount of creativity you can get trying to mix those things together.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. Saula says maybe try pancakes if you're a waffle person.
Oh, you're funny.
For those of you who don't know, me and Joe Bohan on Double Cup of Joe show, we had this debate on what was better, pancakes or waffles, and waffles are definitely better.
It seems like everybody's on the waffle boat except for him, who's on the pancake.
Yeah.
Wow, Marshmallow, that's pretty aggressive. That kind of came out of nowhere. Are you in the wrong chat? Waffles must die. Okay,
waffles must die. No, waffles are
that's
great.
Exactly
Only
true.
by my stomach.
Yes, waffles must die. That's why we continue to eat them and enjoy them doing so.
I'm curious, what's special about Russian tea? What's the deal with that? Does anybody?
I don't know what a Russian tea is.
Well,
I know what
I saw it in the chat
is.
that Kendra's aunt made a jar of Russian tea is pretty good, and J.O.'s saying I haven't had Russian tea in a while, so I was just kind of wondering what's special about Russian tea. I just had some peppermint tea not too long ago. That was pretty good. Which is really it's actually kind of weird when you have hot tea that's actually peppermint. It's like you have a hot beverage, but it's made with something that's
cold,
a cooling agent thing, right?
Yeah.
So
that is interesting.
It's got this really interesting thing. It has lots of spices. Kind of tastes like honey and apple cider.
Oh, nice. Huh.
Nice.
I'd like to try that sometime.
Yeah.
Right now, I've got a matcha tea, which is basically a green tea powder that comes from Japan. This one actually came from Japan, so that's pretty cool.
Tastes good stuff.
Very good. Yep.
Matcha is very good. Yes. So anyway, nice. Wow, we could get into all kinds of foods and stuff. And wonderful. Yeah. Jeff still says French toast. French toast is fine.
I would agree with Jeff, but French toast isn't in the equation. But I love French toast. Yeah. I would take French toast and turn them into waffles. That would be really good.
A French toast waffle?
Yeah, you take a French toast and then you just kind of fry it longer in a grill, you know? Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. You know what? You can really change the flavor of your French toast by messing with the ratio of milk and egg in your stuff that you dip the bread in.
Yeah.
You know, the more eggs, the better, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure. So as long as it still has a little bit enough room for milk.
Yeah, a little bit of milk in there. But
some cinnamon, maybe some vanilla if you want.
Man, we're talking about all these foods.
Yeah, I know, right? Great. All right, that's pretty good. Have anything else for the topic or?
I do. Stir fries are awesome.
There you go. You heard it here.
I'm a big fan of the stir fries. You can do, I went through a phase where I was like, okay, I'm just going to throw anything I can in a fry pan and fry it with oil.
Yeah.
Some kind of meat,
Mhm.
some kind of vegetable, rice. Well, throw noodles. Why not noodles? Because you go
Mhm.
to the place. I remember you go to one of those hibachi places,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
where they make all this stuff, and they got noodles and they got rice and they got all this stuff, and they just fry it all up on the thing, and it's so good. Because I think anything fried is better,
Well,
personally.
I don't know about. I mean, fried milk is pretty good, but fried water is a little bit lacking.
Fried butter.
Fried butter.
Fried butter is
And
good.
if you fry anything in butter, it's good. Even crickets fried in butter is good.
Oh yeah, I fry anything in butter. You know, actually,
Mhm.
butter's the main thing I fry things in. I don't ever use that olive oil or whatever sesame oil. It's
Canola
just
oil.
I just put canola, vegetable oil. I usually just use butter.
Yeah, that's good.
It's
Yes,
good.
Kendra, I took a class. I took a wilderness survival class in college, and that was one of the classes we had. The instructor brought in crickets, fried them in butter, and offered them to all of us to try and eat. They were really good.
So, dude, I love
Fried
pierogies.
pierogies. Oh yeah.
Yeah, fry them up with onions. Fried onions is the best smell God ever made.
No, it's not.
Mm-mm.
It's
my,
totally not.
my mom heard that, she laughed.
It's totally not at all.
Fried onions is an amazing smell, man.
And an amazing taste, especially
Mhm.
caramelized. Mhm.
Exactly.
But thank you for letting me speak on the topic.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
of
you're
course.
welcome. Thanks for stepping up to the plate.
Of course. Well, anyway, so hopefully some of this helps you feel a little bit better in your situation, Kendra. I really appreciate you sharing what's going on. It's not easy to be stuck for as long as you got to be stuck for in quarantine and everything like that. And so anything you can do to make things more interesting or fun or laugh more often, that can really help. I we had a meeting last night. We're planning stuff for Criminal Idol season 2.
We had a
Stay
lot of fun in that meeting.
tuned. Oh, it was great. We laughed so much and joked around a bunch. And poor Joe. Joe's putting everything together for the casting call. Oh, FYI, everyone, casting call. We're gonna be doing casting for voice actors starting I think next Friday. I think.
Yeah, I believe. Hmm.
So stay
That's what
tuned
we're
for
planning
that.
for.
Yep. And so anyone
Not
who
this,
wants
not
to,
the Friday that comes the soonest.
right, not this coming Friday, but the
Yeah,
next
the Friday
Friday.
after.
Yes. So, and there'll be information and all that kind of stuff. But yep. So yep, we're gonna be looking for voice actors for Criminal Idol season 2, and it's gonna be cool. So yes, but we had
Friday, January 22nd.
yes, January 22nd, and it'll go for a few weeks at least. So, yep. And they're all up for grabs, all the voices.
Yep.
Nobody's cast yet, not even Ryan. Ryan wants to be
That's right.
Haruka.
Yeah. If anyone can beat my Haruka voice, then I'll give it to him. You can send in anything.
That's true.
It would be probably better.
Nice. So anyway, but thank you so much for the topic, Kendra. And yeah, just try and keep things lighthearted while you're there. And remember, you're in our prayers, your whole family. So, yes. But anyway, what do you think? Should we move on to another topic?
Let's move on to another topic.
All right. I think that's
Baka Breaker is
great
here.
plan. I saw Baka's here. And
I guess you go through the list in case anyone is lurking.
I'll go through the list. If you hear your name, let us know you're here. We'll do your topic. So we've got Sevlev, SK, Awkward, Pika, Jesse, Khan, Vulcan, Sparrow, Amira, Random, Man Left Behind, Marhandi, and Baka. And Baka, I know you're here. So streaming on a phone sucks. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Box.
And
I'm still, hey, you and I gotta go into the server with you at some point and see your new house. I saw pictures of it at the Minecraft server, Baka is constructing some amazing buildings and dwellings in this place.
He's an architect.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's way better than my dirt hut in a hill. Except for Steven, like, did all my interior design stuff, and that turned out amazing. But yeah, I just many much Mawson.
Mawson or Moosin?
But yeah, so yeah, well, let's do Baka's.
Cool.
What do you say? Princess with the link right away. Oh my gosh, so fast. So fast. All right, and then I can copy it, and I can paste it, and I can post it. Yeah, because it's fun.
And then everyone clicks Joe's link.
As is customary.
Yes.
Just a link with tomatoes.
You should click the one you think is best, which is probably mine or Princess's.
Or your own if you're that creative. Go for it.
Yeah, if you want to make your own link and then click it, go for it.
Yeah, you could totally do that. So, Princess, whenever you're ready, feel free to read it.
Okay. I have surrounded myself with lies, and in the end of it all, it just comes back to hurt. This box of hatred I have built around myself just hurts. It seems it will never end. I end up lying about a lot of things, my mood, interests, etc. I want to break this habit so much, but I can't even tell if I'm just lying to myself again or not. Some days it just feels like I'm wearing a mask, covering the truth. I want this habit to stop, but I don't even know where to start. How do I stop this self-hatred of lying? From Baka.
That is a great question, and I have to applaud you, Baka. It takes a lot of courage to admit something like this in front of people and on the internet and everything, and to kind of bare your heart in this way. That's an amazing thing, and just taking that step right there is a step toward healing. Just admitting that there's an issue somewhere. That's one of the things that I've learned about. I'm a Catholic, so I get to go to confession, and the act of confessing to another person, that alone makes a difference in the healing process of recognizing that is this lying habit. This isn't you. It's not a definition of you. It's a separate thing from you. And just by admitting it, you separate yourself from it. And you can now treat it as a separate entity, which is really, really cool. So anyway, I am going to turn over to Ryan and see what he has to say, because he is full of such wisdom and amazingness. So Ryan, take it away.
All right. Thanks, Joe. And yeah, that's so true, Baka. What Joe said, the first step, I guess, right, in anything, in solving a problem with yourself is admitting to it. But then to go further is to open up and to share it with people, so that hopefully, you can get yourself on track. And one of the great benefits of that is, like, this sort of feeling of like you want to work harder at it and try harder, because you don't want to let yourself down, but you also don't want to let the other people down, right? All these other people are keeping track of you. They're they're holding you accountable for yourself. I think that's a really good thing to leverage. It's a really good feeling to build on, right? So yeah, I definitely applaud you for having the guts and the desire enough to share this. Lying is, there's many different kinds of lies, right? There's many different severities of lies, right? But in the end, they're all the same. It's not telling the truth, or intentionally telling something that's false. Hopefully, your hope is for your own gain, right? When we lie, the reason we lie is because we want what's best, right? Even though we know it's not what's best. What I mean is, sometimes we lie to get out of something, right? Because we think that we'll enjoy life better if we get out of it. Like, maybe you break a vase and you don't want other people to know that you broke it, so you hide it somewhere. You throw it in the garbage before anyone can see, or you tell them that the dog ran into it and broke it. Right? You create these lies because you don't want to suffer the consequences of breaking the vase. You don't want to be the one that has to pay for it or to be scolded. Right? And so we lie. We lie because we want what we at that time think is best. Because ultimately, pretty much everything we do in life is for our own happiness, right? Most of the choices we make in life is because we're compelled towards happiness. We believe that it will make us happy. So overcoming lying is noticing, which you are already doing. You're noticing that in the end, it doesn't actually make us happy. We can chase after those momentary pieces of like, yeah, if I lie about the vase, I'll get out of the trouble, and then I'll be happy and I won't have to suffer, and which will make me happy because suffering is unhappiness, right? Well, we end up going through that over and over and over, and eventually learn that's a lie in itself. When you avoid consequence of, even if it's an accident, right? If you avoid pain for a brief moment of pleasure, once that brief moment of pleasure is over, that pain lasts way longer than it would have if you just owned up to it, right? I mean, we know that to be true. If you say like, "Oh, it wasn't me who broke the vase," right? Then you don't have to get punished, and you're like, "Cool." Even if you get away with it, most of the time you don't. But even if you get away with it, you don't like who you are inside, because you recognize who you are, that you've lied, and that you are um, that's someone that's not who you want to be, right? you know, we all want to be something better. We all want to become something amazing in our lives, right? Um, that's part of being happy, is being satisfied with who we are, right? One of the biggest keys to being happy is being satisfied with who we are. But when we do something that makes us unsatisfied with ourselves, that feeling lasts a lot longer than the punishment we would have occurred if we would have just admitted the truth, right? And Baka, obviously you know this, right? You've learned this. But to restate it and talk about it, here right now, can help your brain remember when it comes next time where you are trying to get out of a punishment, or you're trying to make yourself look cool, right? Maybe you're making up a story like, hey, yeah, I did that once, I built this huge thing, blah blah blah, and it's a full-on lie. You just wanted to look good. um you can start to recognize in the act, or before you do it, right? Sometimes you catch yourself and you're like, I'm about to lie, and you're just like, no, I shouldn't. Sometimes you catch yourself while you're lying, and you just kind of have to go, you just kind of have to swallow your pride and just go, you know what, I'm sorry, I just made all of that up, that's a lie. I don't know why I did that, I'm sorry. You know what's going to happen if you did that? Like, if you start to tell a story to people and then you confront them and be like, you know what, right in the middle of it, you just like, actually, no, that's a lie. Or right at the end of it, even if people are like, oh, that's so cool, but then you confess, right? You know what happens when you confess that you lied? It, like, this is weird, but it puts you at a level above if you never even lied. Because people will respect you, and you can respect yourself because you owned up to one of your failures.
Mm.
You know, um, it's yeah, end the story with, and then I woke up. Perfect. And then I woke up. No, but yeah, like when you are able to, I guess it's, I'm not being sexist with this, but just like to be a man, right? When you're willing to be a man, when you're willing to own up and take responsibility, people respect that. People look at that and go, "Wow, that's something to respect." Um, and as that's just be a man type of thing, right? Um, we see on TV all these things about what it's like to be a man, and all of them are dumb, right? You see the main father figure of any sitcom ever in the past couple decades, and he's just a dumb person, and the wife has to do everything correct, and he's just a failure, and he sits on the couch all day and drinks beer, and that's about it. You know, he messes everything up so that the wife can fix it. That's the show,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that has nothing to do with what it's like to be a man, right? Um, it's interesting. Again, not trying to say men are better than women. This is just a contextual thing. But the word man, I believe in Latin or Greek, I can't remember exactly, is I think it's verti. It's where we get the word virtue. Ultimately, can't remember the exact word, but the word we get to be a man or manhood or to be manly is the word that stems from the word virtue. Um, and that is because in the olden days, they were a lot smarter than us. They were a lot wiser than us because they had time to think. They weren't so distracted by technology and all forms of entertainment, right? So they had to entertain their minds. And what did they do? They thought about themselves. They thought about each other, and they tried to figure out what's the best way to live. And they worked on that, and that's beautiful. And that's something we need to do in our age, right? But that's where they get the word virtue. To be a real man. To be, and doesn't mean man. It can be like human, right? To be human, but to the greatest extent, to the best ability that humans can be, right? To the highest reaches of humanity, the best we could possibly be. That's virtue, right? And so that's a wonderful thing we need to look at and concentrate on and work at every day, right? When we tell a lie, we know that the consequence inside, even if we get away with a lie, the consequence is inside we don't like ourselves. And that's a lot worse than if you just took the punishment of whatever the lie was or admitted that, I just made that story up or whatever, right? Any amount of pleasure you can get from lying just automatically puts you in debt. It's an interesting saying, but there was a saying, it goes something like, the reward for sin is the pleasure you get doing it. Mm-hmm. Because that pleasure will betray you and it will take you nowhere. Mm-hmm. And it will turn you inside out. Mm-hmm. And you will dislike yourself. That's ultimately what sin is. It's the things which we do that we don't like that we did. a lot of times that's kind of what it is. To stray away from that and become virtuous is how we conquer those thoughts, how we conquer lying, how we conquer any sort of nature which we are disgusted with in our hearts, right? And there's all sorts of things that we can do as humans that we don't like about our actions, right? And to get away from those things, a lot of things can be done. I know Joe has a lot of suggestions in this. I want to make one final comment before I leave. Not before I leave, but before I hand it over to Joe. And that is, for me, one of the best benefits in my life, the thing that had one of the most, the best impact on me was, I don't know if you're religious or not, but for me, it was just praying to the Holy Spirit and saying, "Come, Holy Spirit, come." It's a quick and simple prayer. It takes about 2 seconds or less to say, but it reminds me when I say that about my attitude. It reminds me about my actions. It reminds me about my accountability. It reminds me about being a man, about being virtuous, about being who I'm supposed to be, right? And that's super important. I want to be someone great, but I can't do that by being not great. I actually have to be great to be great. Mm-hmm. So I have to do those things, like holding myself back from doing bad things sometimes, right? Sometimes that is an action in itself. And so for that, I pray to the Holy Spirit and I say, "Come, Holy Spirit, come." And that oftentimes I feel at peace. That desire of the sin kind of washes itself away, and my brain just kind of focuses in on, hey, what's the right thing to do? Because that's what's going to lead me to happiness. That's what's going to get me to enjoy who I am inside, right? And that's super important because you can't have happiness without that. You need to be satisfied with yourself to be happy. It's part of it. And so you have to do those things, which sometimes you have to tell yourself no. People say follow your heart, and it's a great thing, but your heart isn't always right. Mm-hmm. It just isn't. Your heart is a wonderful thing. It's a great tool, and it's a great thing to look at and think about and ask where your heart is and follow it, But sometimes you kind of want to hold off on following your heart and ask your heart a question or two to get yourself straight, That's why we have our brains to think with and logic.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, with that, I'm going to give it over to Joe.
Well, Ryan, I really appreciate it. Baka, I appreciate this topic so much because, really, I see in your post here that you say you're a Christian. And so one of the things, some of the stuff that Ryan and I will tell you might be a little more relevant because some of this stuff is going to be, prayer, asking for God's help, all these kinds of different things are going to be helpful to you. But one of the main things for healing, and I'll get into this in a second, but before I forget, there's a book that I recently got a hold of. There's a quote from it that I heard years and years and years ago from a guy on stage, and the quote, I never forgot the quote. It says, "Go therefore and do that which is within you to do. Take no heed of gestures that would beckon you aside, and ask of no man permission to perform." And that doesn't really have much to do with lying, but I found the book that this quote came from. I mean, it's an inspirational quote. It's great. But then just recently, within the past week, I found the book that he dug this quote out of. It's called The Magic Story by Frederick van Rensselaer Day. Yeah, however you pronounce that.
That sounded perfect.
Yeah. So, but you can actually get the book for free, and I'll post a link here. You can get the book for free. The company that I use for all my planning and all that kind of stuff, they every once in a while they'll give out some free books and everything like that. Now what they'll do is you'll hit the download now button. What it'll do is they'll pop up and they'll ask for your email address, your name and your email address. So then they'll know where to send the link to download it. Basically what that does is it puts you on their mailing list, and you can just opt out of that later. But so that's not a big deal, but it's just a way. And then also they try and do a little bit of an upcharge where they're like, okay, you can get the audio book of this and then all this other package stuff. They call it the Passive Mastery Kit, and you can pay $7 and get all this stuff. You don't even have to do any of that kind of stuff. You can just get the download. It's a PDF, and then you can read the book for free. It's only like 16 pages long, but it's powerful. Powerful, powerful, powerful. And one of the things that's in there is, the habit of lying, the habit of being dishonest, the habit of not having any character. It can lead you to sounds like a pyramid scheme. What sounds like a pyramid scheme?
You described how they try to
how they
upsell their
do
stuff.
that. Oh yeah, they'll try to do that. But but the thing is you can still get the free download, and then you can opt out of their email list and all that kind of stuff. So it's no big deal. But so anyway, here's the thing. If you get a hold of that book and read it, I know it'll be impactful for you. I know that there's stuff in there that will help you turn this corner around, because really, when a habit, we get so ingrained in a habit and it kind of starts to take over our lives like this, we start to identify with it and we start to think that it's us. We start to think in terms of, I'll never not be this way. This is just the way I am now. I've come too far. I can't turn around. But the truth of the matter is you can. Up until while we're still alive, we can change. We can always turn. If we find ourselves on a path that's going in the wrong direction, and we find it's taking us to a place we don't want to be, we can turn around. We have that option because we're still alive. And sometimes, there are times when I'm, having such a hard time, maybe because of habits that I've done, or maybe just things not going my way, I will go to bed early just so I can like hit the reset button. I'll be like, I'm going to start over tomorrow when I wake up, like, so there are times when I do that, I just start to get to the point where I'm down on myself like that. But here's the thing. In order to heal from a habitual sin like this, or habitual problem, I guess you could call it. I mean, in this case, it is sin, being dishonest. The key is going to be repentance. Now, you said in a post that you're a Christian, and that's one of the keys in Christianity is repentance. Now, depending on what type of a church you go to, they'll put a little bit more emphasis on repentance as a one-time event in my life, or this is something that I have to consistently do. And I'll tell you from experience, it's something that we need to consistently do because we never achieve that perfection, right? And so there's always something that we need to be turning from, and that's what repentance is. I don't want to turn into one of these like televangelist guys, repent and da 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 and stuff like that. But it's basically just a turning away from error and going the opposite direction. That's what it is. So it's a resolution we make in our heart and in our mind where it's like, all right, I resolve, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not going to do this anymore. You're already doing repentance to some degree by asking for, how do I stop this? You're asking for help on how to stop it. And so in a way, you're already on that path, which is really, really cool. So when you admit, even if you just admit it silently in your heart that, okay, I have an issue here, I need to turn from this, that is enough to separate it from you, and you can begin that healing process. Now, depending on how deeply ingrained a habit is, it can take some time, and some effort to develop the new habit of being honest, right? If you've developed a habit of being dishonest, and it's been a long time that you've been developing this habit, it might take some time to develop the habit of being honest. Plus, it's also tough with dishonesty because there are things that maybe we've lied about and different, we might have created a persona of ourselves that isn't true. And so now, we're going to have to kind of reconstruct that persona in an honest way. And it means dismantling some of that stuff and maybe admitting to some failure with people we know. There might be, some things involved with that. So it can be a little bit difficult because I don't know if you've heard this before, but most of the time, if I have struggled with honesty and dishonesty in the past, and it always seemed like I could never stop at one lie, because you lie about one thing and then, in order to maintain that lie, you have to lie about something else. And then in order to maintain that, you got to lie about something else, and so, and before you know it, you're like 6-7 lies deep into this thing just because of the one at the beginning. And, so then it starts to kind of cascade and be a real issue, right? So then if you've gone down that road a ways, it might take some time and some effort to dismantle that in order to move in the other direction. But the beginning is repentance and saying, I don't want to be this way anymore. I resolve to change. And then it's basically like, hey, God help me, please change. And then you can forgive yourself. And that's hard too sometimes. But in the event that we are actually a perpetrator in this case, if I commit a sin or if I commit a wrong in whatever case, then my job is to repent. My job is to turn from that wrong. If somebody else wrongs me, my job is to forgive. And in this case, with dishonesty, really, you are wronging yourself. So kind of both jobs fall into your camp then, repentance and forgiveness. That's one of the things that makes self-forgiveness so hard, is because we forget about the repentance. And so we don't heal. We have a really hard time forgiving ourselves because, we get focused on, I got to forgive myself, but I never repented of the thing that I did that was wrong. And so now I don't feel like I can forgive myself. And, so it kind of takes both. And then the other side is, okay, I feel really bad about this thing. I'm sorry about doing this thing. But then I never do the healing act of forgiveness on the other side. And so as a result, maybe we don't heal. But so in this case, it takes both. And I'm telling you, when you can learn to take the time and go into that quiet space in your heart and in your mind and genuinely say you're sorry, just silently to yourself, genuinely say you're sorry for the things you've done, and resolve to change, however long it takes and however many times you make a mistake, and however, just resolve, like, okay, I'm going to change this. And then you can take that and say, okay, I forgive you, to yourself. I forgive me, right? And you can ask God to forgive you as well. That moment, I've found it can be pretty emotional. I know that for me, when I went through this, it ended up being a pretty emotional experience. And that's normal. And it's okay. Because it's going to be part of that healing pain that comes, And then on the other side of that, you'll have that recollection in your head. Now, it might happen again. You might do it again. And so then you can do this process again. You can continue. And I would recommend, just don't give up. Because like I said in the beginning, it might take some time. It might take some time to, develop the new habit. But always keep in mind that you've got people that love you. Because we do. And, whatever it is that you're struggling with, we're not going to stop loving you. It doesn't change, any of that. We still love you and accept you the way you are. We know that, you have faults just like I have faults, and Ryan has fewer faults than the rest of us probably. But, like
I've got one eyebrow higher than the other. I don't know what you're talking about. Clearly, that's a fault.
That's not a fault.
Sometimes it switches.
But anyway, yeah, those are some things that you can try and do, and that's how we heal. We heal through the process of repentance and forgiveness. And I know I've said this before, and you guys have probably heard me say it, but we get it backwards. We think if somebody does something wrong to us, they need to repent in order for me to heal. And that's not true. And we also think, if we do something wrong to another person, we're like, they need to forgive me or I'm not going to heal. And that's not true. Both need to happen for the relationship to heal, right? So both sides, if the relationship's going to heal, yes, both sides need to happen. But if I do something wrong to Ryan, like if I just haul off and punch him in the face and I'm not sparring him, then my job is to repent and say I'm sorry and say I'm not going to do that ever again, and genuinely feel sorrow for that action. And then I will heal as a result of me repenting. If Ryan holds that against me and doesn't forgive me, then he won't heal. He'll be all bound up inside and he'll just be all angry and mad, and I can totally see it happening. I mean, just look at him. There it is. But for the way Ryan would heal in that transaction is by forgiving me, and then he's free from it, right? But when it's an offense against ourselves, to be truly free from it means we have to do both: repent and forgive. And yeah, it'll probably be a process, but you know what? It's worth it. It's worth it on the other side. You will be so much more proud of yourself as you pursue virtue, like Ryan was talking about. That's the pathway to happiness. That's how we feel happy and fulfilled, is by pursuing the life of virtue. We think it's going to be hard. We think it's going to be a challenge, and it can be, for sure. But to live that way is a true path to being happy and to being content. And I would say this, one of the things that's helped me so much, I just learned this. You know, it took me 42 and a half years, almost 43 years to figure this out. But when I'm upset with someone, even myself, or when I'm upset about anything, I've learned that if I conscientiously love God and love the people around me, like I think about, okay, I love these people. I love them. I can be content no matter what's going on around me. I can be at peace in my heart because I've filled myself with love, and that's one of the most peaceful feelings ever. And you can do that with yourself too. I love me, even though I'm messed up, even though I've got all kinds of issues. Those issues are not me. And I can love me. So anyway, hopefully some of that's helpful. Ryan, did you have anything else?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, Joe. I mean, that's super, super great. And you know, forgiveness can be really hard, like Joe said. But if you can take the time, and just sit in your bedroom or whatever, on your bed or whatever, I don't know, take some time and talk to yourself, talk to God, and ask for forgiveness, and really mean it, and forgive yourself. I think that it goes a long way, because it gives you that clean slate, to start again and hold off, lying for longer. But it also refreshes your hope, because you might have to do this many, many, many times before you kind of conquer this fault. But when you do it, just fill yourself with hope that, here I'm going to try again, because life isn't about the amount of times you fail. It's about the things you can succeed in, right? And this is one problem that you've been given, that you're giving the chance to conquer. You're given the chance to bring light into the darkness. And I think that that's a beautiful thing, right? So when you look at your darkness, don't just see the dark. See that one day you'll conquer it, and that you're bringing light into the world. Even though that darkness is stuck to you, and you might feel like, hey, the only one I'm bringing light is to myself, but that still is super important. Super important to you, super important to the rest of the world that's benefit by your brightness. It's super important to God.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, be filled with that hope. I looked it up. The word for man in Latin was vir, and virtus means valor or merit or moral perfection. Moral perfection. I think it's a good translation, because then it turns into virtue after that. But yeah, just to give the etymology. But anyways, one last thing I wanted to talk about here was, you said I ended up lying about a lot of things. The first thing you said was my mood. This is great. Why is it great that you lie about your mood? It's not. But whenever anyone asks me about my mood, I have this thing that I do, and I hope maybe you can do it too. I think it's wonderful. when someone asks me about my mood, it's like a it's like an attitude check. Someone says, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm just like, "Attitude check, Ryan, where you at?" You know? And I always make it a point to say I'm doing good, or I'm doing great, doing fantastic.
Mm.
And regardless of whatever was going on before that, I fix my attitude inside and say, "You know what? I don't care what just happened. I'm doing great because I choose to be great. You know, I can't be great if I'm not great. So let's be great. Let's have a great attitude, right?" So if someone asks me how I'm doing, I don't lie about my mood, but I recall. I go, "Hey, that's an attitude check, Ryan. Where are you at?" You know, and I go, "Okay, let's be great." And then I say, "I'm doing great." And then I commit to that. Does that make sense? I commit to what I just said,
Hmm.
right? I say, "I'm doing great." And then I commit to it so that I am doing great. So that I treat people with a smile, with a genuine smile because I'm doing great, regardless of whatever the heck happened that day, you know? Or whatever happened that week. However, maybe I got sick, right? If I'm sick, I usually end up saying I'm doing good. I usually preface it with something afterwards. Like people go, "Hey, how you doing?" I'll be like, "I'm doing good, but man, my throat is not doing well. It hurts a lot, you know,
Mm.
whatever." If I'm sick or something, right? But my mood is something that I can fix. It's something that we can all fix. Um, Now, some of us have a talent in this, some of us don't, but it's something you can practice. Regardless of your personality, it's something you can practice to get good at, is to look at yourself. If anyone ever asks you how you're doing, or if you think about yourself and your attitude, it's an attitude check. And you got to ask yourself, okay, now that I thought about my attitude, what am I going to commit to? Am I going to commit to how I'm feeling? I'm going to say, "Oh, I'm doing terrible." And I'm going to commit to that. I'm going to commit to doing terrible. What kind of, oh, that's great for you. What kind of commitment is that? That's just a downhill spiral, as the name of this post is, spiraling down. Why would
Mhm.
why would you want to do that to yourself? Why would you want to do that to the person who's asking you, right? You're just taking all of that weight that you have on yourself, and you're just like, "Yeah, I'm doing really bad, and that's what I'm committing to. So that's what you get from me too. I'm gonna
Mhm.
treat you like, you know, just like Joe's face."
Mm.
Which is beautiful, but the face he's making, which is intended to not be beautiful, but somehow it's still beautiful. Joe, could you please stop being so beautiful? I'm trying to make a point here. All right, whatever. Joe can't do it.
I can't do
Um,
it. I can't do it. It's just natural.
yeah, it's just natural beauty. Um, but anyways, so um, instead of lying about your mood, take a different perspective. Don't lie about your mood. Commit to a mood, and always pick the one that's gonna make things best, right? From your own experiences in life, when someone else has a bad mood around you, you don't tend to feel good. When you have a bad mood, you don't tend to feel good, and you don't tend to help anybody else out. So again, just take that attitude check and say, "Yeah, I'm doing great," and then commit to that. Um, figure yourself out in your head, and choose from that moment. Because here's the thing: from that moment on, you still get to choose. Every single moment that happens, you get to make choices
Mhm.
about what you're going to do, whether you're going to smile, whether you're going to, I don't know, walk somewhere, right? You get to make choices every moment. And so when you have that thought, when someone attitude checks you, you know, from that exact moment, why wait any longer? Why wait till the night goes over and you wake up in the morning to be happy? And it's like, "Hey, it's a new morning. I can be happy again." Why not just commit to that moment right there? Say, "You know what? From this moment on, all those moments behind me, maybe they weren't so great, but this moment, I'm going to make it good. And I'm going to continue to smile and have a great day." But, anyways, yeah, go ahead, Joe.
That attitude check that you're talking about, that's awesome. Because really you can find the light side of anything. You can find the bright side of anything. I mean, stuff can be horrible and there can still be a silver lining in there, you know, because there's nothing in this world that's 100% bad. There is truth in yin and yang. There's a mixture of good and bad in everything. And so then the key becomes finding the good and all that stuff. And I love what Ryan said at the beginning of that last segment, where he's like, hey, you know what? You've got this thing going on. You've got this flaw, you know, this issue, right? It's a thing for you to conquer.
Mm-hmm.
Just think, man, it is a victory story waiting to happen. And you are on your way because you're addressing it, you know? And so really, I mean, you look at that and I was like, you know, I think, I can't remember. There was something, I walked past a TV and the news was on. And they were like, Donald Trump impeached for the second time, first time in history. I'm like, hey, man, breaking records.
Hey, man, you're doing awesome today. You're just breaking records. It's incredible. Whatever you do.
Yeah. And I don't want to get political. Sorry, I didn't mean to go that route. But that just reminded me, right? You know,
I saw something like that too, and I was like, "Why you guys all got to beat up on Trump?" I mean, go find
I
some
know,
dirt.
I know. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to talk politics. I was trying to keep it out of there. But it's like, hey, you know what? Hey, new record. 2 times. Good job. Yeah. But anyway, but also, you know, politics.
Yes, many ticks.
Many ticks. Tons of
Thanks,
them. I can't help but, you know, I hope this is okay. I'm going to bring up my brother. My brother is, he's 2 years older than me. So he's 44. He's got cancer, right? And he just found out not too long ago. And he's got this attitude, like he is bulletproof in attitude. Now I know there have been quiet moments where this has really stressed him out. And, you know, but he's going through the treatments. He's got this, he's a candidate for the surgery to get rid of stuff and everything. And, you know, it's going to like totally rearrange all of his insides, and he's got chemo and all that kind of stuff. Now he owns a fuel delivery business. Like he delivers diesel to people's houses for home heating, and also to heavy machinery on job sites and all that kind of stuff. Like that's what he does. He owns the business doing it. Like he owns some trucks, and you know, it's amazing. And so it's crazy to me, like, because he has this attitude, and he's just like, yep, we're going to do what we have to do to take care of it. We're just going to take care of it. And so he'll go and he'll have his chemotherapy on Thursday in the morning. And then that afternoon, he's back in his truck delivering fuel. And then all day the next day. Like, I mean, it's astounding. But our attitude, like Ryan was talking about, you know, we get to choose it. And so anytime, I saw some of your posts up there, Baca, where you were like, you know, I hide my negativity and lie about having it and only show positivity. And, you know, there's 2 different ways you can look at that. You can look at that as lying, but I don't think you have to. And it's because of, with everything that's bad, there's something that's good. Everything that's bad that comes our way, something good can come from it. And that, you know, that's the philosophy behind the problem of evil. Like, why, if there was a God, why would there be evil in the world, right? We hear that question from time to time, you know, like how could there be a God if there's all this bad stuff in the world, right? And the reason, you know, that exists is because from that evil thing, from that bad thing, a greater good can be brought out of it than was ever possible before. And so you're dealing with this issue. Yes, this is a problem. This is tough. This is hard. This could be considered bad. You know, this problem, this habit. But from this situation, you going through this and you fixing it and healing from it and changing, there, you will be better than you ever could have possibly been before without it. Because you will have faced this challenge. You'll be stronger than you ever could possibly have been. You know, and you will know more. You will be well educated in this by going through it. So it's okay to put on a happy face even though things are going bad. I wouldn't consider that lying. I would just consider that focusing on the good. Because there's good. And even when everything's bad, even when everything seems to be falling apart around us, there's good. There are people that love you. There are people that you love. And you can always remember that in your heart, and it can bring peace into your heart. In fact, I did it while Ryan was talking. I just, my mind turned to the love I have for all of you, for my family. And like you get this warm feeling in your chest and you kind of relax a little bit and your features kind of just because you take the moment to focus on the fact that you love. And it's a very, very peace-giving moment. I'll tell you. You should try it. And you might like it. In fact, I bet you will. So anyway, I didn't really have much else. Ryan, did you have anything else on this topic?
Kind of just wanted to say something on top of what you were just talking about. Obviously, we've been running on this one for like 44 minutes, but that's fine. I don't know if anyone else is in line.
Give or take a few.
Yeah.
44-ish.
44-ish, maybe more.
But who's keeping track besides Princess?
Yeah, who's keeping track? Nobody. Princess, what are you doing? What is that? What are those numbers you're throwing
Princess keeps us on track, guys. Just so if you didn't know that, she gives us the times. She's awesome.
But what is love, 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 baby? Don't. Okay. So Jeho asked. Baby, don't. Okay. Baby, don't. Okay. Don't. Okay. Okay. Those are how the lyrics are. So, one thing that Joe was just talking about, there's an interesting way to look at the world. If you look at the world and you have like suffering, and you have pain, you have evil, right? And you say, like, why would God create a world that has all that kind of stuff in it, right? Imagine a world where everything was perfect. Everything was already holy, right? There was no evil. There was no lacking, right? There's no lacking of good and of holiness. We humans would be unable to do holy and beautiful things that are new, right? When like you encounter this, right? You're encountering this lying problem, right? You're given the chance to create good where there wasn't good before. You're given the chance to create something holy out of something that was darkness. By reforming yourself, by growing and creating something. And it takes suffering to do that. But that suffering is rewarded, right? And it's rewarded in the greatness that we create, right? So I think that's a really beautiful way to look at the world and the way to look at your problems and the way to look at, catastrophes and things like that, because you look at these things and they're awful. They are. They just are, right? But we're given the chance. And we're given the responsibility as humans to be human, to be virtuous, to create something that was not there. In that empty space, which is evil, we're allowed to take ourselves further and take the world further than it could ever be, because we're allowed to manifest and create something that is beautiful. And God allows us to do that in his world. So we should be thankful. Now, we're not thankful when something bad happens to us. We're not thankful when we find out we're a sinner and we're doing terrible things, right? When we do those things on purpose, right? We're not thankful for ourselves and doing those things. And we shouldn't be. But we should be thankful that we're given the chance, right, to improve. And I think that should be our attitude. We're always given that chance. So as long as you live, you're given that chance to keep on moving farther beyond. And I think that's, I just kind of wanted to say that because it's in the context of what Joe was talking about. And you can look at your own issues that way. Now, one last thing on the topic of mood. It's okay to tell people you're not doing good, right? It's okay to tell people and to rely to lean on others, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to, just like you're doing with us, right? You are telling us something is not right with your, with this category of life, with lying and stuff. And sometimes you lie about your mood, and that's okay, because it's okay to lean on somebody. It's okay to get information from people. It's okay to let your worries out on somebody and allow them to pick you up. Because don't you feel better when someone comes to you and they rely on you and you help them? You can help them, right? You ever helped somebody out and you just felt good? You ever had someone come to you and be like, wow, that what you just said back there really, really helped a lot. You changed the way I was thinking. You changed my life. You made me feel good. Hey, you just made my day. Those things, right? We enjoy when we get the chance to pick other people up. So don't shy away from giving others a chance to pick you up.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. You're just human, which is a huge deal. It's a pretty huge deal. But you're human just like the rest of us. And we are so afraid of letting other people know that.
Mm-hmm.
We are so afraid of letting other people know that, hey, we have problems too.
That is its
But,
own sin.
yeah.
Pride.
And it's called pride.
Mm-hmm.
But we have no reason to be afraid of that, because we're all in that boat. And if
Mm-hmm.
someone mocks you because it's like, oh, you did, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you got to be kidding yourself if you think you can mock me when you are literally sinning when you're saying that. You have got to be kidding me if I think that you're not human. For 1 second, I know that you're human. I know that you have your failures too. I don't say this out loud, but if someone tries to mock me, it's like, seriously? Like, we're all human here. What's the big deal,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to get better. At least I'm trying to get better, So mock me all you want. I don't care. I'm just gonna ignore it. I'm just gonna try to get better. That's all I can really do. That's all the good I can add, you know? So don't worry about others seeing you in a negative light, because showing them your humanity, showing them that you're not perfect, a lot of times creates intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
It means it creates a closeness, a closer bond between you and another person, right? Because when you can share your struggles, when you can share your faults with another person and your successes, right? When you can share that and when you open up to people like that, you can get intimate with people and you can find these close bonds that last a lifetime. And the comfort in that is beautiful, but even beyond the comfort, you're creating something that wasn't there before. And it's a beautiful thing. So don't be afraid to get intimate. Don't be afraid to open up with people. But yeah, that's what I got. And I know that it's been a while since we started this topic, but
That's an important topic.
yeah, it's a pretty big one.
We can cover a lot of ground with a topic like this, so I really appreciate you posting that, Baka, for multiple reasons. One, it's a deep topic, and so like there's a lot of different things that can be said. But another thing is the courage that it took for you to say it.
Mm-hmm.
And the very fact that you posted it, that says a lot about your character. And even though this is an issue that you're struggling with, I know in your heart, you have good character. And, so inside you is, someone who wants to do what's right. And that's awesome. So I appreciate you so much. And, we'll keep posting stuff. I'd really like to hear how this journey goes for you. So what do you say we move on to the topic?
Yeah. Do we have another one we can do here?
That's a good question. Do we have another person that's here?
Yeah, we got about 20-something minutes. So.
Yeah, I mean, we got time to do another one. Baka says I literally wrote it through my own tears. I imagine that's that's one of those moments when that's part of healing.
Yeah, I'm really proud of you, man.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So you're already moving in that direction just when you wrote that down, and that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So I'm really proud of you. So anywho, let's I don't know if anyone's here. I'll just go through the list. If And if anybody has a topic, something they want us to talk about, you can post it in the chat. Or
Yeah.
if
Did anything we talked about today spark any thoughts you want us to, you know?
yeah,
Did your mind wander into a location at some point during this talk conversation that we've been having?
hmm
Um, Feel free.
yep. But here's the list: Sevlev, SK, Awkward, Pika, Jesse, Khan, Vulcan, Sparrow, Amira, Random, Man Left Behind, and that's it. Marhandi. Jo says food.
Yeah, I was laughing at that too. It's like food. Jeez.
We're talking
It's kind of
about
funny because when I
food.
was saying that, I was like, someone's gonna say food, aren't they? And then Jacob did.
I got peanut butter. We are not sponsored by this peanut butter company.
Oh,
But look at how
I've
big
got
that jar of peanut butter is.
leather.
You know, when what
That's
you
the big
do
jar of peanut butter.
is dig this out with a spoon, it gets really hard with this big of a jar.
Oh yeah, you need a really long spoon.
Because then you need a really long spoon. You need one of those spoons like you get at the ice cream place.
I have one of those spoons. Well, it's pretty long.
Oh yeah, but it's not very big.
No, it's pretty small, so you'll have to do it.
You
You'll have to
gotta,
make several scoops.
yeah.
But
But then you're double dipping.
you're at the end of the peanut butter jar. You should be double dipping. Says me who never double dips ever. I would literally get another spoon. No, I would wash it off or something. I don't know. I'm not the person that wastes spoons either. I don't like making. I don't like piling up the dishes.
Royal says, "Cut the jar in the middle, lick the jar clean."
There you go.
Vanna says, "I have part of my ASL final tomorrow. I can't talk for 24 hours, and I can't listen to audio to simulate the life of a deaf person."
Whoa.
Wow.
Wow. Good luck. That's amazing.
Wow. So, okay. So this isn't okay. This starts tomorrow,
jealous.
must be, because you're listening to us right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully you're not cheating on your on your test. But yeah, wow.
Yeah, that's gonna be a cool challenge.
Yeah, wow.
I would love to do that challenge. That'd be sweet.
To be in silence and not say anything.
Hey, Marhandi? Whoa.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what? We can handle it right now.
Yeah, let's go. If you might have to leave in the middle of it. That's fine.
Yep. Yeah, we can if you want to if you want us to, we'll do it right now. And then you can listen to it later. So that works for me. Does that work for you, Ryan?
Yeah.
It works for Princess. She already posted it. Look at that.
Look at that.
Look at that. She is so on it, man. Like
smoking.
Wow.
She's on fire.
Wow. The cold hits hardest when you're too afraid to approach the nearby campfire. Uh-huh.
That's the title. Interesting.
Just a heads up, it's a longer topic.
Okay.
Oh,
that's all right.
Okay.
It's all good. Just buckle up.
Yeah, well that's hey, you know what? We're going to listen to you read it.
Howdy. I would like to start with an apology for not joining the stream, as I couldn't do so, as well as for this pre-upload, as it is copied from my post from the Free For All Friday forum. Now on to what I'm fretting over. Last week I wasn't exactly the greatest time I've had this year. It's actually far from it. From stress, from fatigue and worry for my friends, for my mom, who could have had COVID. She's good now, thank God. And some good old self-loathing over how not stellar I've been about disciplining myself via procrastination. And well, things weren't so hot. In my search for some warmth, I decided to ask some friends a very important but scary question. One that I am already paranoid and worried about from the moment I made friends. Do you actually like talking to me, Or do you just tolerate it until I go away because you're too polite to tell me? I had worded it in a way so that their mind could easily default to an easy, nice answer. I wanted some nice words. I wanted to be warmed by friends' words instead of it feeling like a therapy session for anyone. My first friend, I responded well. I wish I did. But then the second friend, the one that I thought of as my best friend, well, he didn't take my questioning seriously. I was hurt and shocked. I then showed my first friend his response, and when she basically laughed it off, it washed away the one spark of hope I had of being warmed by nice words. Feeling rejected and hurt, but still stubborn to get something good to happen. So when my best friend asked me if I was okay, I told him how I felt. He said he cared, but when I asked him why it doesn't feel like it sometimes, he immediately did a 180, claiming he never cared to begin with, and to finally see how heartless he truly is and that he never cared. Broken, hurt, lonely. I just broke. It hurt, and I just don't know anymore. I still don't know. But at least it's gone for now. I didn't know what to do, and so for some reason I decided at the very least to change my profile pic as well as use an indicator of what someone is like. And by change it, I mean delete it. A couple of friends asked me what was going on and why I deleted my profile picture. Why did I leave the server? Why am I so handsome? No one actually asked me that last one.
Aw.
I told them I was hurt and told them what happened and asked them the question. They were understanding and answered nicely. I just wish I could have enjoyed the answers more. It's a bit hard to have a nice warm campfire after it's been put out by the ocean, you know. Feeling down the next few days. I also think that I learned what an anxiety attack feels like at work the next day. So that was educational, I think. I believe I'm over the event, but I still would like to have an apology or at least my friend talk to me. And so I'm standing at my ground on that at least. I know it's dumb, and I'm not going to reach out to him until he does. This includes rejoining the server I left. Some of my friends, being kind-hearted, I assume, I got mad at someone, their friend hurt me, another friend of theirs that I think they seem to hold in higher regard, and now they're mad at him. I'm truly over it, but I have returned to normal, or at least my own normal, and that's just the two of them that I know of that are mad at him. So I don't know what's going on there. Now I feel I should elaborate on this friend that hurt me by saying he doesn't care. He's very much dense with emotions. He doesn't even seem to understand his own. He has been there for me in the past, and he was the first one to ask about my profile picture when I deleted it. Hours later, after our talk. He's incredibly socially awkward, and me asking him such a loaded question in the first place, in hindsight, I understand why he answered it jokingly, with both as he isn't the greatest with talking in the first place, as well as, like I said, he's incredibly dense, even when it comes to emotions. So now I don't know. I'm waiting on him to do something, but I'm worried he thinks that I'm mad at him, especially seeing as some other friends are and the fact that I had blocked him. And so I don't know if he'll approach, even with the hints that I want to talk to him, like taking public suggestions for a new profile picture in places where he'd seen it or even votes. I don't actually have a conclusion or a proper feeling to leave this on. I think I just want some opinions or some help. Any advice, anything will do. Please DM me, and I would also like for you to answer the question, even though it's scary. And here's the part where I sit for a while and consider dropping both my Discord username as well as my phone number in hopes that I get something. I think I'll just drop the Discord as well, as remind the chat that they can go to the BSS website and reply to this or send a message through one of those helpful links provided by you guys. Love and best wishes. Marhandi, #2930, which I will put in the lovely chat for anyone who wants to.
The lovely.
Lovely.
Wow.
Thanks, Princess.
Yes, thank you, Princess, and thank you, Marhandi, for the topic. My goodness, I'm really glad to see that you're maintaining a sense of humor. You know, even through an experience like this where it can be kind of painful, and you know, like you had said, it was tough, but the fact that you know there were ways that you could find some humor in it, and you could make a few jokes in there. To me, that that can really help lighten things up a little bit, and so it can keep you from getting really down about it. And sometimes people say that's a defense mechanism, and maybe it is, you know, but it's not like you were cracking jokes all the time in there. It was just, like a few. And so, but that just tells me that, you got a good head on your shoulders with this whole thing. So that's awesome. Um, but yeah, there's quite a bit going on here. And we also had Princess, did you see there was a topic from Emperor Aerospray? Looks like. Um, I think it came in while you were reading.
Thanks for letting me know. I will get it.
Okay, perfect. So anyway, Emperor, thank you for the topic. We'll make sure we get it in there so we can talk about it probably next week. So anyway, Ryan, what do you have on this topic from Marhandi?
Yeah. It's I've learned not to ask loaded questions because I've been through the same thing. Not the exact same thing, but similar things, right? When you ask someone, I remember here's a classic. A lot of people do this one. I'm not the only one. You tell someone you love them because the only reason you told them you love them is because you wanted to hear it back. And when you don't hear them say "I love you" back, at that moment you realize, wow. Did I really just ask them like if they loved me by telling them I loved them, but then like, do I even love them? Because all I'm looking for is for them to love me. That's not love. Love is me loving them. Love is me giving them a gift, right? Not expecting something in return, right? And so I remember doing that, and I just blew my heart apart when I told someone I love them. They didn't say it back, and I was like, I just like poof, exploded inside, and I was like, holy cow, I'm a terrible person. I felt like, but because I was only telling them that I love them because I wanted to hear them say it back, and that they didn't reward me with that, and that's when I knew that I was I I had some fixing up to do inside, right? At that moment, I realized if I need other people to love me so that I can feel satisfied, I've done something wrong. Because I should be satisfied with myself regardless of whether other people love me or not. I mean, it's great to be loved and it's great to love. And in fact, giving love oftentimes makes us feel loved. It makes us feel the reward of love. And all we're doing is giving it and we're not even receiving it back. But it has to be honest, right? So it's an interesting thing when we ask a loaded question. A lot of times it comes back to bite us right at the root of our problem, saying, hey, dude, it's like a slap in the face, right? Because you ask a loaded question and then you get the response and you realize why you asked. And you realize that something inside you needs to be fixed, right? And so I remember when that happened to me, I remember I went in front of a mirror. I looked myself in the face, and I've told this many times, but I just looked at myself and I was like, dude, you know better than this. All right, let's fix it. All right, let's make a plan. Let's take action, And so step one, what do I need to do to fix myself? I need to not be so self-focused or so self-centered, right? Not selfish, just self-centered, not so focused on myself that I can't see other people around me and I want everything for me, trying to get the attention off myself a little bit so I can be more loving. And then the second thing is how do I fix my negativity towards myself, right? Because a lot of times when we ask that loaded question, it's because we are feeling negative towards ourselves, right? And we're hoping somebody else can lift us up, And then when we get shot down, we're only stuck with ourselves, right? If they're not helping us, then who is? The only person left is ourselves, and we don't like ourselves. That's not going to go well. So I stood in front of the mirror and I was like, you know what's up. You've you've got a self-esteem problem and you need to get on that. So what do? Well, I committed to a plan. I set myself up with a plan. I said, hey, I'm going to go immediately when I'm done talking to myself. I'm going to go unload the dishwasher or load it or whatever needs to be done. It's just a thing, right? It's not a chore that I was tasked with, but if I do it, it helps the other people in the house. And I'm not looking for anybody to see me do it. So I'll do it in the middle of the night. I don't care. It's not about other people's recognition. It's about me treating others well. That was my first step. Why? Treating other people well? Because it gets my attention off myself and it creates a positive image for me inside myself. Mm-hmm. So when I look at myself, I can look at myself and go, you know what? He just did a really cool thing. That was really nice of him. Cool. Good on me. All right. That's okay. It's okay to think those thoughts. And the second thing, how do I get away from negativity? How do I get away from, I guess they kind of just combine, right? Because I've given myself a positive image and I've done something for somebody else. And so I create a plan for myself to start doing those things, right? I'm like, okay, tomorrow, what am I going to do? I'm going to do these things that are for other people that help them out with no hope for reward, no intention for reward. Just do them to help them, to make their lives better. And when I work towards that, what happens is my confidence of myself starts to improve. My self-esteem starts to improve, right? How I look at myself starts to improve. And that just changes everything. Then I could ask people a loaded question and not even care. Because I'm not relying on them to make me happy anymore. Because the thing is, imagine doing that to somebody, right? You did it. You know what it's like. I've done it. Probably most of us have done it.
I've done it.
Yeah. Imagine you're putting the weight of your whole perspective on life and on yourself, your perspective of yourself. You're taking all of that weight and you put it on one person. You say, hey, you tell me, they're not responsible for your happiness. But you treat them like that. That's really rude. And I say that because that's what I've done. Mm-hmm. It's really rude. What I did was really rude.
I've done it to Ryan.
You have? I don't remember that. Oh. Well, hopefully I helped. Hopefully I shot you down so you could reflect on that.
That's right. Yeah. It was a growing experience.
Yeah. But yeah, we can't make other people happy. We just can't. And so when we put our happiness in someone else's hands, how do we expect them to do it for us when we can barely do it for other people? It's not even our responsibility. So ultimately, the lesson here is don't do loaded questions, right? But don't rely on other people for your happiness. Sometimes days go bad. And there are times where you're like, I need someone to lean on, right? And you can lean on them and say, hey, I had this problem. And you can just bet that they're going to respond with, oh, that's terrible. I'm sorry that happened to you, right? It makes you feel better, right? It makes you feel good to talk to somebody who can understand your pain and kind of feel down about it, because it feels like someone's with you. And sometimes that's a beautiful thing, right? But I think it's a whole different thing when we are putting on all of our problems on someone else and hoping that they can make it better. Because we need to understand that our problems are our responsibility. So while it's okay to lean on somebody and tell them, hey, I'm suffering this area. Got any words of help? Or, hey, I'm suffering this area and I just want to talk about it. You don't even have to say anything. Please don't say anything. I just want to let my heart out on you and you to bear it, right? And that's okay. That's okay. As long as you recognize that at the end of the day, it's your problem to solve. Other people can help you through it, but you're the one that's got to conquer it. And if you put it on somebody else to make you happy, you're only ever going to get let down. Because that's not something that we're capable of, right? because you can't expect someone else to make you satisfied with yourself. It just doesn't work. Sometimes they can give you momentary pleasure. They can make you feel better about yourself for like 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my gosh, you did that so amazing. And you're like, yeah, dude, that was great. I'm so happy. Thanks for noticing.
Look at me.
You feel awesome.
Look at how cool I am.
Yeah, you feel on top of the world for like 15 minutes max. And then you find the steep slide that goes down from there. And sometimes you actually just end up more depressed. I mean, I've seen it happen. I know it's happened to me. Probably happens to a lot of people. But ultimately, you can't rely on other people. Okay, that's it. Lesson learned, right? Lesson learned. You know now. So what I have to say about the other side of that problem is, you know, with you recommunicating with your friend and stuff like that. For me, if I want a problem solved, a lot of times I have to solve the problem. If I have a problem with another person, I've tried the waiting game. And a lot of times it doesn't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it does, most of the time not. Sometimes it does, but most of the time it doesn't. For me, when I have a problem with somebody, the best solution every time has been going to them and saying, hey, I want to be your friend. I really do. You're a great person, and I'm sorry for what I did. Let's talk about this. You know, to open up to somebody and say, hey, look, I've got my problems. You've got your problems. We're human. Let's talk about this. Let's figure out how we can fix this friendship to make it, you know, to heal it again. You know, anytime I've had a problem with somebody, if I just go to them and talk about it to them with an open mind and being willing to be the person that's wrong. If I go to them and I'm like, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, I don't care what you have to say. You have to say sorry to me. Until you say sorry to me, I'm going to keep on being in your face. You know, until you say sorry to me, we're not friends. For me, that route doesn't work. The route that works for me is where I go, hey, I could be wrong. And so I want to talk about this with you to figure out, how do I fix this? Because what happens then is you admit to possibly being wrong. It cuts pride off and it allows them to admit that they could be wrong. Because they see by your example, like, hey, this person, he's admitting that he could be wrong. I don't want to be trying. I don't want to be like, you know, it's a guy that I don't want to be put under their shoe, right? I want to be just as good as they are, right? So yeah, hey, I could be wrong too. It sounded cool when he said it. So yeah, I could be wrong. You know, or you meet people with my brother who are never wrong. But regardless,
like legit.
Yeah,
like legit not wrong.
he's been wrong a few times.
A few times,
for
maybe.
For the most part, he's rarely wrong. But anyways, yeah, going to the person, like if I have turmoil inside, if I recognize, hey, there's something, like I want to make this a better scenario, then I'm gonna go to them and I'm gonna try to talk it out with them, and I'm gonna admit that I could be wrong. I'm the one that has to change something. I'm the one trying to change something. So of course, I, you know, just take that responsibility up front. And any amount of responsibility they want to hold, I encourage it. You know? And I have one more thing to say, but you know what? I'm just going to save it for later because I don't remember where it is right now. And I'm just going to stuff a sponge in my mouth and I'll let Joe.
Stuff a sponge. I want to see the sponge. Where's the sponge? That's not a sponge.
Shut up.
That's part of your mic stand.
Shut up. It was okay. Technically, it acts as a sponge because it's a napkin.
Oh, okay.
And napkins are types of sponges.
No, they're not.
Okay, whatever. They can do things that sponges do. All right.
They can, yes. They can function as a sponge.
They can function as a sponge.
Yes. Well, Marhandi, I really appreciate this topic. I really do. And Ryan, thank you for that for that feedback, because it's really true. You know, it's not our job to make people happy, and it's not other people's job to make us happy. It's, you know, it took me a long time to learn this. I learned it because of my wife, actually, because we had a hard time in our marriage for a long time, and um I remember partly I just remember putting the burden on myself, trying to make her happy, trying to do whatever I could, whatever I thought she wanted to do, you know, whatever I figured she wanted me to do, you know, all that kind of stuff. I just try and try and try to make her happy, and never was happy. In fact, she got like more unhappy.
Mm.
And finally, I came to the realization, I was like, wait a second. It's not my job to make her happy. Like, I can't do that. Clearly, I've been trying and I can't do it. Like, you know. And but then it kind of dawned on me, it's like, wait a second, I don't have the power to make her happy. That's outside of my control. And she doesn't have the power to make me happy either. Now, she has the power to make me miserable from time to time. I can say. You know,
We can attest to that.
We can attest anybody. You know, anybody can.
Uh-huh.
We can make each other miserable
We
for
sure
sure.
can.
Anybody can do that, right? But we can never. I love the way Ryan put it. He said, you know, we can give each other maybe a few minutes of, you know, an elated feeling, a few minutes of mental pleasure or something like that, of a good feeling, right? We can give good feelings to other people, right? But it's not really lasting happiness. In fact, it can create an addiction. Sometimes the more we get praised and, you know, cheered on and all that kind of stuff, it can create an addiction in us for that praise and approbation and cheer and all that kind of stuff. And then when it doesn't come all the time, then it's like we go into the withdrawals and we get all upset and we're like, oh my gosh, I need that. But the thing is, it's, you know, that's not what gives us value. Another person having an opinion about me doesn't change my value one bit. You know, and the same for somebody else. The way I feel about somebody doesn't change their value one bit at all. It doesn't increase or decrease their actual value. Now, if I encourage somebody, it might help them. If I'm nice to somebody, it might make them smile. It might make their day a little bit easier, whatever, right? But it doesn't change how valuable they are, because they're infinitely valuable. Same goes for you. You are infinitely valuable. Regardless of whatever friend or acquaintance or enemy or whoever, regardless of what they think of you, you are you, and you are infinitely valuable. Simply for existing. And nothing is ever going to change that. So, you know, I mean, you did give this guy kind of an out. You mentioned that, you know, he is, you know, emotionally, maybe he's not very good at expressing emotions, and maybe not all that great at communication either. And so really you kind of have a clue to your answer right there. I mean, you can't necessarily hold him responsible, you know, because, I mean, you know this about him, right? And so it's okay. At that point, it's like, okay, I need to have some grace, because like Ryan was talking about, loaded questions are dangerous, you know, so we got to be careful with those. I know there are also loaded answers. I'm married. There's a 4-letter F word. Fine.
How are you? Fine.
That's a loaded answer.
Seemed like it.
You know what's a loaded question? Does this make me look fat?
Man.
That's a loaded question. Like, so there are things, and there are no right answers to loaded
If someone,
questions.
if someone ever did that to me, if someone was like, "Does this make me look fat?" I'd just be like, "Oh, you are so hot right now." Just completely blow it out of proportion,
You'd be like,
and
I
just
think
don't even
I.
don't even address the question. Just get weird.
uh, there was an old movie I saw. I can't remember what it was. The one guy was like, he asked his friend. He was like, so does this suit make me look fat? And he's like, no, your face does.
Oh, I remember that. It's so
I
mean.
know. I was like, wow, that's ridiculous. But at any rate, so yeah, Baka, that's a trap. It totally can be a trap for sure. Um, so all right. So I guess bottom line on this whole thing is, I, okay, for the last part of your thing where you're like, okay, do I sit for a while, consider dropping both my Discord username as well as my phone number? I wouldn't drop any of it. I just keep it all there. Just don't worry about it. Don't worry about, seeing what kind of a response you can get for whatever. Don't worry, just don't worry about any of it. Just let go of the whole thing, and move on. Because, you know, people make mistakes when they talk to us. We ask questions, people answer them, maybe we don't like the answer, we might get hurt by it, but at the same time, it doesn't change our value and it doesn't change the way they feel about us. They may still consider us a friend, and maybe, everybody sees friends different. Everybody sees friendship differently based on our experiences, our upbringing, where we live, all that kind of stuff. People have different experiences of how we love other people, how we, care for other people, how we are friends with other people, and really the key ingredient that we can bring to the table in any type of a relationship is grace. Grace. Because people are going to screw up. I'm going to screw up. I've screwed up at least twice today. Probably more. Twice that I can think of right now. I've screwed up. And I'm going to continue screwing up probably every day of my life. Every hour on the hour, probably. I've been short with people. I've been impatient with people. I've, like overlooked people. There's been all kinds of stuff where I have screwed up and I feel bad about them. But thank heavens for the grace these people offer me, and they still allow me to be their friend. Because I'm going to mess up. And they're gracious with me, and they still love me, even though I have faults. And the same goes for every single one of us, except for maybe Ryan. We all have faults. Oh, Ryan's showing one of his right now, the eyes.
Yeah, my eyes are bigger than they need to be.
Yeah, that's a fault for sure.
That's a fault.
And they're bluer than they ought to be.
Jeez, what kind of color is that?
That is so blue it's green.
It's a like a turquoise. It's a blue green.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful color.
It is.
But amazing. It is my fault.
It's amazing. It's a fault of yours for sure.
Yeah, it's a big huge fault.
So the key is, Ryan's eyes are that color. I need to have grace.
Yeah, no, it's not Joe's fault that my eyes are that color.
I know.
They're sensitive to light. Like,
I know. Yep. Ryan doesn't like the wintertime. That's a fault.
Yeah. Oh, that is huge fault. Oh, that's seriously a big fault for me.
He wants to move to Kiribati.
Kiribati, that's where I'm going.
Yep.
Kiribati, what's the climate? Good. Always.
Always good.
Record low. What was it? 69 degrees?
Yeah, that was the record low. The average low is 70,
average low is 70.
Like 77 or 76 77? Or something like that.
Record high, you could be like, oh yeah, it's going to be super high. No. What was it, like 92?
Yeah, the record high, 95.
95. Okay,
yeah.
Record high was 95. It's like nothing. It's like the average temperature is between 75 and 85 or something.
Yeah,
Amazing.
77 and 89.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So like right in that range all the time.
All the time.
Ryan would
All year
be
long.
Ryan would love it.
I would love it.
But at any rate, the ingredient to bring to any relationship is grace. So you're going to feel a lot better about this whole situation when you decide to forgive your friend. And it doesn't matter if what your friend said was done on purpose to hurt you, or if it was done on accident and it hurt you through just a mix up, right? Either way, you were hurt. And your healing comes through forgiveness. That's where it is. And that grace will cover those faults, because honestly, I think most of the time, people don't mean to hurt us. They're just careless. Or they just don't think about it. Or they just screw up. Or maybe they have the best intentions at heart, but they're trying the best they can, but they don't quite get it right, and then we get hurt. There are other people that I know that go out of their way to hurt others. You know what? They need our forgiveness too. And they need our prayers, because can you imagine having that mentality where you're going to try and hurt somebody? Can you imagine the place they must be in mentally in order to think that way? How misguided and how tormented they probably are to think that that's appropriate behavior, to go around purposefully hurting people. They are not happy, and they need our prayers, and they need our support, and they need our grace so they can heal as well. And it all kind of stems from like okay, so how do you remove yourself from a situation to the point where you can feel that for another person, where it's like, okay, how do I'm too busy feeling hurt by this situation. How do I get past it to, think about all this kind of stuff? And the answer to that is the reminder that I said at the beginning, and that is, remember, other people's opinions doesn't change anything about you. It doesn't change your value at all. And your opinion of another person doesn't change their value at all. They're still just as valuable. You are still just as valuable. And, I mentioned that book earlier, The Magic Story by Frederick Van something or other. And in this story, they talk about inside of us, we all have a plus entity and a minus entity. The plus entity is confident and, hardworking, and, basically understands that, we can do whatever we want. We have power to do anything. That's the plus entity. And the more we feed that plus entity, the more it grows. The minus entity is fear and worry and doubt and, always concerned what others might think of us and, all that kind of stuff. That's our minus entity. And the more we feed that, the more it grows. And, the bigger one of those entities gets, it kind of shoves the other one out a little bit. But we can always invite. So like if we let our minus entity kind of take over, and we're full of fear, we're full of doubt, we're just low self-confidence, all that kind of stuff. We're really concerned about what others might think. And maybe we're in that position where we're dishonest and we lack character as a result. And who knows? Maybe it's taken over to that point. We can always turn around and clean ourselves up and let that plus entity come back in and experience that confidence, that resolve, that purpose. And we can start doing things like Ryan said. It might be as simple as doing the dishes. Doing something for another person. It might just be as simple as cleaning up. Like I can't clean up my whole desk, but I'll clean up this one little area of my desk. I'll throw away the trash that's right there. You know what? And that's a productive thing. When you do something that's productive, it grows your plus entity. When you smile at somebody, it grows your plus entity. There are things, these are all things that can help us grow that better self. And that's really what we want to do. That can help fix all this kind of stuff, right? So to answer your question, I wouldn't drop any of your usernames, phone numbers, anything like that. I'd just leave it all there. In your heart, forgive. It might be a while before you actually talk to them again, but in your heart, forgive. It probably wasn't his fault. He wasn't trying to hurt you. He was just doing the best he could with his limited emotional understanding and limited communication skill, and trying not to offend, but, failing miserably. That's the story of my life. I try as hard as I can and fail miserably. So I rely on people's grace a lot. So anyway, that's pretty much what I got. Ryan, you got anything else?
Yeah, I think just on that last note, the best friends you'll ever have in life are the people that will be graceful to you. They'll be tolerant of you. And so it's funny that your loaded question asks if they were just being tolerating, but sometimes that's the best friends in life are those that are willing to tolerate your problems and see through it into the you that you really are, to the you that is the best you. They're willing to bear with your failures so that they can be around the person that succeeds. One of the best graces in my life is that I am surrounded by people like this community, people like Joe and the rest of the crew at Black Static and Swerve, who all understand this, and we all just love each other through our madness, through our failures. We understand. That's one of the most beautiful things. So to be a great friend sometimes is to be willing to forgive.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to be surrounded by people like that, you kind of have to be that way yourself first, so you can show the example.
Mm-hmm.
And show them the way of, hey, you know what? I can forgive regardless of whatever you just did. Now there are times where we have to let people go. There are times where we have people in our lives that it's better to just walk away from.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. There are times when, you look at your friends, they say the best friends in life are the people that the best friends in life are the people that help you become the best version of yourself, right? The best friends are the people that help you become the best version of yourself. The best parents are the parents that help their kids become the best version of themselves. The best teachers, etc. And sometimes you look at your friends and you're like, these people aren't helping me. They're making me worse. These are bad people to hang out with. They got me into all sorts of different crazy habits that I don't want to be a part of. That sometimes happens. And sometimes you have to let people go. And it's okay to make that judgment for your sake and for theirs. Because one thing is, when you get involved with people like that, you continue their bad habits by being a part of the relationships, by being part of the scenarios that are bad, right? You bring it into expectation to be bad, right? You can see anyone join the bad crew at school, and all of a sudden they kind of start to look more and more like the people they're hanging out with, and they encourage the people that they're hanging out with just because they've started to do it too. Sometimes it's better for them and for you to just say, you know what, I don't want to make that. I don't want them holding me back from the best version of myself, and I don't want myself holding them back. So I'm going to let the relationship go. So that's okay sometimes. But if you're looking at your friendship and you're thinking, you know what, that's not the kind of person that this is. This is a person that I would rather be close to and help fix this relationship and be a light in their life and have them, help me in mine as well. Then then forgiveness is definitely the way. Forgiveness is the way either way, but forgiveness, just be forgiving of them because they make mistakes. Hope this conversation that we had was helpful and wasn't too hard on you. You know, a lot of it is that it's kind of self-directed. We've faced these ourselves, you know, and so we're kind of talking to ourselves like,
right. That's why we know this
in the
stuff.
past.
That's why we've
yeah, we've made these mistakes
'cause
enough.
These are all things that
Yeah. So don't feel too down about making the mistakes. It's just part of being human, and just, you know, it's like, wow, lesson learned. I just, you know, gained so much from this because now I recognized, you know, part of the root of my problem here. And I can recognize, you know, how I can maintain my relationships better. I can recognize, you know, being passionate with other people, or compassionate rather, and all of these things, right? You get so much through this. So it's all not all negative. Remember, Marhandi, this is a great thing for you because you're given the opportunity to grow beyond what you, like we said earlier, what you ever could have been without what you're facing right now. What you're facing right now, it's difficult, but you can get through it. And I know that because you're an awesome person, Marhandi. I've talked to you a couple of times, and we've seen you on the show several times too, and you're fantastic. So it's always a pleasure to have you around, and you're always a joy to be around. So don't ever doubt yourself. Really, it's true. Don't ever doubt yourself. Yeah. So I think that might be the end of our show.
That is almost.
All right.
Now.
Whoa. You just got dabbed.
Yeah, because I put a dab in the chat. So anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. Marhandi, thank you for that topic. I hope that something we said made sense and that, you know, you can take something away. It's not an easy situation for sure. And just understand that no matter what, and this goes for all of you, no matter what is going on, you are loved here. You know, we don't hold any ill feelings just because, you know, just because you might have an issue that you're dealing with, or maybe you've done some things wrong in the past or whatever. No, that doesn't change anything. It doesn't change your value. It doesn't change the fact that we love you, and you're always welcome here. And we will be back on Wednesday. Also, again, before we go, remember, 21% off at the store, all products. That's right. Just enter the coupon code 21 when you check out. Free shipping in the United States, $10 shipping everywhere else in the world. And yes, 21% off. That's crazy. That's crazy.
You've never seen that.
It's anywhere. Crazy. No, because, you know, it's funny because, you know, when we went through pricing with Kyle and we were like, okay, we got to do, okay, what's it going to be like if we send this to, you know, way out in the middle of nowhere, you know, around the world at 20% off? You know, are we going to break even? and we were okay at 20%, but I don't know about 21%.
Whoa.
We might lose money at 21%. Kyle never know. But I did it. I did it anyway. 20% off, or 21, I mean. But yes, and keep your eyes open. Casting call coming up. Not this Friday, not in 2 days, but in 9 days, I think. The 22nd.
Yeah, 22nd.
22nd is when we're planning on opening that up. So anybody who wants to be a voice actor for Criminal Idol Season 2, brush off your microphones, you know, dust off your vocal cords. Yep.
Get a duster up in there.
Yep.
Get the vacuum out. Clean off your tongue. And
we are looking for some good voices. There's a big guy named Ushi. But he's going to sound like this.
No spoilers, man.
Or something.
No spoiler.
I'm the king of the spoilers.
Yeah,
that's why Ryan can't say. That's why Ryan never tells me anything. So,
I tell you like everything. Don't even. You are literally a part of our meetings where we cover this stuff.
I know. Yep. Do you think we'll do more casting calls for later seasons? Hey, if we keep doing more seasons or if we keep doing other stuff,
I don't know if there'll
there
be.
are, it
I
might
don't know
not
if there'll be
be.
another Criminal Idol season after this, but there's definitely more stuff coming. So yes.
Mm-hmm. And yes, there will be more characters in season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. There will be more characters in season 2. And yes, there will be more media productions. There will be more shows. There are all kinds of ideas in Ryan's head for some great, great, awesome stuff. So
I'm sure Joe's as well.
we will have the need for more voice actors, I'm sure. But anyway, you guys are awesome. We will see you next Wednesday on Don't Worry Wednesday. Until then, keep being awesome. And have a good night.
Peace.
Love you guys.